So I remember a number of years ago, I was at a checkout line in a supermarket with one of my young kids. And the kids kept asking me, can we have this candy that they saw at the checkout line? I said, no, it's not kosher. Can we have this thing? I said, no, it's not kosher. And then they stopped asking for it. The teller tells me, wow, I've never seen this. Usually the kids, they don't stop. And a lot of times they get their way. Here I see when you tell them something, they listen. I said, I wish it's the truth that every time I tell them something, they'll listen. But if I tell them it's not kosher, they're not going to argue with me. But let's say if they want a soda or another candy that is kosher, they'll keep nagging. And I explained to them, because when it comes to kosher, they know there's no negotiating. You know there's no negotiating, then they're not going to argue. When it comes to other stuff, they feel they keep bugging me, they'll get it. And unfortunately or fortunately, a lot of times they're right. And they asked me, so what is it about the word kosher that they know they can't argue about that? So I explained, because kosher is the law of God. And when it's the law of God, I said, the kids know there's no negotiating about it. This is the rule and this is the law. You know, it's interesting. It answers a perplexing question about this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion, the first word is Ve'ela mishpatim, and these are the rules, the laws. So the rabbis wonder, why does it start off the Torah portion word and, ve? You don't start off a chapter in a book and is a continuation. So it's not the proper Hebrew. You should start and these are the laws. It should have just said these are the laws. So Rashi, the commentator, told us the reason is to teach us that just like the Torah portion before, the laws came from God, from Sinai. The same thing, all these laws in this week's Torah portion, which seems like basic laws that you don't need God to tell you how you treat people in business, how you have to pay people on time, how there's a lot of laws that how society should run. Even these laws you have to know that also come from God. Why? So it's very important. The Torah is telling us, if you leave it up to human intelligence, then everyone can have a compromise. Oh, I'll give them this candy this time so they won't bother us. Let's say Shabbat. I was just talking to someone yesterday actually about this. And he said, you know, he was talking to his family member that they invite him every Friday night for Friday night dinner. They do it for religious purposes. I would rather have Friday night dinner Sunday night. Why do I need to do it Friday night? Let's move it to Sunday night. I explained to them, because Friday night is the night that God asks us. So you see, when you say Shabbat, you're doing it because God said so. You know you're eating this food because it's kosher, because God said so. Then there's no compromise. But if you're doing Shabbos because it's a nicing family get together, so then this week Friday night, it doesn't work because somebody is has tickets to a concert or an important business meeting. So you push it off. And then next week you push it off. And the week after you push it off. So you see, the Torah is teaching us a very important lesson. That the anchor to Judaism, to make sure that it's going to survive and thrive, is you need to put God in the picture. Why do you keep kosher? Because God said so. Why do you have Shabbat? True, it's nice that the family gets together, is because God said so. Then there is no compromise. So when there's no compromise, meaning I don't say, well, this week I have an important business meeting, so I'm going to miss Shabbos. Or this week I got tickets to this great singer in town, I'll miss it, I'll make it up for it. Because then, as you know, once you have exceptions, then it's like the soda and the candy with my kids in the store. They're going to keep asking, eventually they'll get it, then eventually you move on. Versus when you know this is the law and this is the rules, then you're going to guarantee that you'll always remain committed and you'll always do it. Shabbat Shalom.